Hey everybody, welcome to the Real Stories of Success podcast. We have got a very, very special guest for you today, but before we get started, be sure to subscribe, rate, and review on all of your favorite podcast platforms, especially if you take away some value, and that's going to be impossible not to. We've got a special one for you today.
We've got Seth Bennett, Hallmark Homes. He's up in the Fort Wayne region. Seth has been in the industry under 5 years. He is top 100 social survey loan officers in the country, not just Fort Wayne, in the country. And he's also Scotsman's Guide top 5 loan officers in the Fort Wayne market. We are super excited to have Seth with us.
Seth, welcome aboard, man.
Thanks, guys. Happy to be here. It's a beautiful day, and thank you for the opportunity. It's a pleasure to join you.
No, man, we've Austin had a chance to connect us last week, and you and I had an amazing conversation. I took so much away from that and took about a half page of notes from just our conversation. And so you've got an amazing story, and I'm really excited to unbox that story and really just share with the audience. You've accomplished so much in a very short period of time, relatively speaking, in the lending world. And I know there's going to be some nuggets of gold in there to share with everybody. So if you don't mind, can we kind of start at the beginning? What brought you into this industry, and kind of walk us through what your story is up to this point?
Yeah, it's really fascinating, honestly. I wanted to be a loan officer. I was probably 12 years old, to be honest with you.
Wow.
My mom is my branch manager. I used to go down to her office late at night, and I would be doing my homework while she's submitting loan applications in the old day of faxing it off before email. And I have a math mind. I like people. And I knew right then and there, it was like, hey, this is ideal for who you are and what you like to do. However, it was more of a journey to get there. My mom didn't let me get in right away, went to college, did some other things, and ultimately wound up doing what I kind of knew I wanted to do about 4.5 years ago.
I love that.
Yeah. So tell us about the early days, right? Now that's only been about 5 years ago, or 4.5, right? But so for someone that's out there thinking about they want to get in the industry, you've seen success so fast, right? And people are probably looking at it like, no way I can do that. But tell us about the very beginning, right? You probably started with 0 loans. So how did you get to where you're at now?
The short answer is a lot of hard work. But obviously there's more to that, but a lot of hard work. And I would say it was hitting the pavement, going out and creating relationships, also utilizing my natural market database. And a couple things happened right early on in my career, which I think really catapulted me forward. And that is, the first thing is I lost a deal. Actually, I never even lost the deal. I never got an opportunity with a personal friend. That personal friend afterwards, I want to say maybe confronted them. That's probably not the right word, but I brought it up. I'm like, hey man, you never even gave me a shot. And he told me, I didn't realize I kind of totally forgot what you do. And I knew right then I was never going to allow that to be an excuse for someone to not have at least called me and given me an opportunity to say, I didn't know that's what you do. That's been a focal point. Kind of a lot of my marketing is like, hey, you've got to be out there pounding the pavement, letting people know. Every single day, I help serve people by helping them obtain, home loans to buy or refinance a home. So that was step one, sort of in like that really motivated me. And the other thing, to be honest with you, starting off, I made some pretty big mistakes. Nothing catastrophic by any means, but I made some mistakes. And I took that opportunity as kind of like facing adversity. Are you going to point the finger and blame someone? Are you going to try to excuse it out? And I didn't. I just flat out took ownership. Hey, I need to be better. So I really, honestly, I started studying mortgage guidelines and down to the T of knowing exactly from an underwriting aspect of why are we approving this loan and trying to understand that. And then ultimately, those kind of two things really put you in a position to be successful and really serve people at the highest levels.
One thing I heard you say there is you really took on the responsibility of not pointing a finger and assuming all ownership for what happens. And I loved what you said about your friend there, because I was that person as well, hand up here, where there's a real estate sign that goes in my neighbor's yard, and I never talked to the dude. So you can't blame them for not knowing what you do for a living. That's not their job. And the fact that you took ownership of that immediately in your career, speaks volumes. But then you also mentioned that you made some other mistakes. And I think that's something that doesn't get talked about enough, are the lessons learned through that growth. And that's where we can all take something away. So do you mind kind of sharing into that? Because you went into the mortgage guidelines and, that was a byproduct. You had to go learn this now, but tell us about those mistakes and what'd you do about it?
Well, I mean, as anyone that's been in this industry, you realize there's sort of one-off guidelines and situations that until you really do a lot of volume, you kind of don't know what you don't know. In all reality, it was me not paying full attention to detail, truly speaking. And so I realized then, hey, you got to be super focused from the moment you show up or whenever that is, from the first phone call, you've got to be listening. And then you've got to be taking notes and you've got to be applying that and researching and taking the time. And that goes back really probably to that hard work of, are you going to take the shortcut or are you going to do it the right way? And I say that in that it can be a sacrifice of your time within a day or sacrifice to not be out marketing and selling, but spending as a new loan officer, it may take you an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours to really sort of understand a concept. And so that's what I did. Instead of trying to grow, it was like, hey, how do I best serve the 5 people I have right now? Yeah. They've got to be number one. And I can't be focused on just going out and getting new business until I really know and understand what I'm doing.
So I've gotten the chance to get to know you a little bit in the past year. And one of the things that I truly, truly love and that I think is so important for loan officers out there and real estate agents out there is systems, right? And you are a systems guy. Walk us through your system. What's that look like? How did you come up with the system? Are you changing the system? Is it set? Walk us through that.
Well, it's not, let me, I guess, start on the back end of that. It's not set. It's something that's always being evaluated. And there's sort of some principles that really apply to my system of how my system works, if that makes sense. I have a system for my system.
Yep.
Yeah. That absolutely makes a ton of sense to a system guy.
Yes. Yeah. So one of the key focal points of my system is if you have to do something once, or it's something that happens one-off, that's an outlier. And you never want to make a change to any system that you have because of a one-off event. If it happens twice, something within, whether it be I get the same phone call at the same point from a client, whether that be a real estate agent is questioning something at a point, whatever it may be, if it happens twice, I'm taking notes of that. Hey, this is twice. And at that point, I'm already formulating sort of hey, how do we go about mitigating or better serving people in this manner? And then by the third time it happens, you've got to have a system process in place that it doesn't happen, or you're somehow expediting that or automating that or whatever it may be, that it's just a streamlined process. So that's like an overlying sort of thing to my system. The other thing too, I'll say that's part of my system is I'm a football coach. Austin, I know you know this, but football coaches, the best football coaches will tell you, they by themselves are not smart. They're not anything special. They're average Joes, but they are very good at analyzing what other people do that works very well for them, and then maybe modifying or tweaking it a little bit and then implementing it in their system. So that's what I do. I watch other loan officers. I see what the successful guys are doing out there, and just taking notes. Hey, why did you do that? Or explain more about this. How are you doing this? And then if it fits kind of what I'm doing, then I'm just going to be honest with them, just kind of say, hey, do you mind if I implement that? Most people are very caring and sharing and willing to do that.
Quick follow-up for me on that. Can you walk us through some of the technologies? You mentioned that you're using technology in your system. What technologies are you using to help automated parts of your system?
Yep. So we have a CRM. It's not my favorite CRM, but like any CRM, it's like, hey, are you going to use it or not? So utilizing that CRM from the first point of contact, that's getting people on drip campaigns, keeping them interested, sharing good content with them also about the home buying or loan approval process, that often those emails or texts that they get generate a response out of them, and then it's organic conversation from there, which is always great.
You mean they don't open when fall is coming?
What's that?
They don't open the generic email when fall is coming? You got to put some real content behind those things?
Yeah, and this is kind of getting off a little bit, but I'll tell you that I'm very protective about that. My CRM and the automated stuff that goes to my client, so to speak, it's very minimal. I personally hate that. So And that's kind of how I look at things. Like when I get that very generic automated email and it's from, ABC Tire Company, I'm like, unsubscribe, unfollow, not buying tires from you because you're annoying me. I don't ever want to do that to someone. And I know I have before, so it's a continual process.
Got it.
So tell us about, you mentioned the other day, and I want to kind of dive a little bit deeper into those systems here, specifically towards the area of customer service and appreciation. You really, really value that, and providing that one-up customer service experience is probably one of the reasons why you are the number one, reviewed lender out there. Explain to us what that means, and how do you really provide that next level of service to your clients to really help them walk away and say, I want to go shout your name from the rooftops. You did such a great job here.
Yeah, a couple different things. First thing is I realize I can't do it all for myself. I'm not going to kill myself, picking up the phone every single time it rings and texting. Like you can't respond to all of it. So with that, it's not that you don't want to still serve them and provide them that service. You've got to build out a team. You've got to mentor, motivate other people to buy into your mission or buy into really what your goal is in serving people. So that's part of what I do focus on. Ask me some more on that. I'm kind of
well, I'll tell you, actually, I have a great follow-up. So you and I were in an event together, and I was listening to you speak, and one of the things that really stuck out to me that you said was, in this age of iBuyers, right? We're all dealing with the iBuyer and the Quicken Loans and the whoever's of the world, and you said, you pinpointed that buyer very fast on, is this someone that I'm going to be able to help or not? And what are they truly looking for? And walk us through that, because you said, hey, listen, I'm not even going to spend my time on some of this stuff.
Yep. So I guess when you talk about my system, one of the first things I always do is have a hopes and dreams call, is what we call it. And really that call is not about them getting approved. That call is not about anything other than I'm trying to build a relationship with you. And I'm building the relationship because when I have the relationship and you're comfortable, I feel like you're going to share your most intimate sort of details. And then by me knowing that, I can best serve you in this process. I can identify what is the best loan product, loan terms, what sort of price ranges should you be in. So anyways, having that initial conversation that's really just, hey, let's talk. Right within that conversation, I know right away, just through the questions I ask, is this someone that is going to value what we're selling or what we're providing, or are they not? And if they're not, it is nothing against them. And I totally mean that. Is everyone has certain things that they're looking for, and if I know I can't provide that, or we're not going to provide that best from them, I don't try to. And it's letting go with the thought process of, hey, I can clear that out of my mind. And I can go focus right back in on finding more people or serving the people we do have. And we'll always sort of, I want to say, take those people back if they're having a bad experience elsewhere, they need our guidance or professionalism or whatever it may be. Always happy to help, but it's we're not going to try to sell something I know I can't provide.
Got it. With the standpoint of, and again, not to try to keep diving into these systems, but I think there's so much to unbox there that people can walk away with and really begin applying immediately. What were some of the, specific dynamics that you do? Because you mentioned that you don't want to, oversaturate somebody with a bunch of irrelevant content that you're sending them. So what are some of the pieces of content, and how frequently are you hitting these people that maybe you talked to today that aren't ready to, get a loan yet, but as far as staying in front of them, continuously providing value and engaging with them, how are you doing that? What's that look like in your day?
Yep. So the number one tool that I use, it's a free tool, is I'm going out and I'm friending people on social networks. And I do that because it's a way to start a relationship. And so I always say, I am like the necessary evil to buy a home often. And people really don't want me. As much as I like to think I'm important and like, oh yeah, I want a loan and I'm going to go get it. Like, no one wants debt.
Right.
I mean, bottom line,
we're not the sexy side of the industry for sure.
Right. We're not. Like, I don't have a cool house to show you. No one wants to look at an amortization table. I don't have anything good, but I do want people in that process of as their decision making and I want them to know and understand that ultimately we care about you. We are professional people. And I feel like the only way you can really convey that is to start to build a relationship. And it's in today's age, using social media is a way to do that for me.
Mm-hmm. So are you reaching out to people specifically through maybe a Facebook message, or are you actually calling them? What's that look like, and how are you engaging those people?
No, I'm not. And I know different people have different things. I'm very opposed to anything that would be sort of an unsolicited grasp. So I'm very careful, cautious. I don't have like hey, I do this every single time. It's more of what's the feedback we're getting from are they wanting to be really engaged with, or are they someone that really, a couple touches a month is plenty for them while they're out, shopping for a home. It's trying to identify that. So I don't do a ton of follow-up. I do follow up in the sense of when they are pre-approved, I'm either reaching out by text or email every 2 weeks. Just, hey, how's it going? Not did you buy a house yet? I mean, right. You got to be very careful with your scripting and verbiage of what are you asking? And so is there anything we can do to help serve you? How's the home shopping? Do you want to reevaluate your price point? Just, questions like that of trying to stay in front of them and provide them something of value that it would be beneficial to them, and trying to understand where are they at mentally in the process.
That's great. Let's shift gears just a little bit. Tell us about maybe some of the people in your life or in your business life that have really made a difference for you and your success in the short amount of years that you've had.
Yeah, that's a great question. So honestly, I say this and I truly mean it, and it maybe sound like a canned answer response, and I promise you it's not. I owe a lot to my mom for one, but just my family in general, also some high school coaches and mentors that I had. And I want to say that sort of some very basic principles that I find basic in my life, some moral or ethically things that just were instilled for me really early on. I try to just apply those principles and those lessons I was taught in my daily business activity. And I find that, they're very successful when doing that. And ultimately, I would say that all of that falls back to that a couple of different things is that really we're here to serve people. And ultimately it's never about us. It's never about me. It's never about our team. It's about serving someone in the brief time that you may be around them or know them, and somehow making them better or putting them in a better situation. And that continually doing that over time will pay dividends. So that's really kind of the biggest mentorship I can say that I got that is the most influential in my daily business.
I think it's super cool too that you're doing that now for kids, right, in your coaching career too. So you're that mentor, for all these young kids in high school too. Very neat.
Yeah, well, I part of that too is like I have a responsibility. Because I feel like if someone took the time to put that into me, it would be reckless and negligent for me to just not share that and push that out to other people. It's not honoring the people that took the time to do that with me.
I love that. That's a fantastic takeaway right there. And, I feel that so many people can benefit. If you want something, to come to your life, just go ahead and give that first away to somebody else. If you want to help inspire people, be inspiring first. And I just love the fact that you're doing that with kids in high school now. I mean, it obviously had a profound impact on you with the people, it sounds like, that, were around you at that age. And, you're doing the same thing and you're giving back. And I just absolutely love that impact. And hopefully in 5-10 years, one of those individuals will, be doing something like what you're doing right now and making it happen too. That's a beautiful story, man.
Yeah.
Let me shift gears on that one more time, because, kind of turning to the business and, looking ahead, there's so much going on in this world. This is an incredibly exciting time to be in the, lending industry. There's so much opportunity everywhere. What are the things that are really driving you and, even more so, maybe even keeping you up at night that, as you look forward, over the next year or two that you're trying to accomplish? What are those things that, you're losing a little bit of sleep on right now?
I'll be honest with you. I don't lose sleep.
Nice.
I did at one point in my career. I'm not one of the people that stay up at night worried. And that was a process. Don't get me wrong. I definitely at one point was, but I realized how unproductive that ultimately is, and that there's got to be a system, an internal system to sort of let go of things. So nothing really keeps me up at night. I do wake up though very motivated and ready to go. So I think honestly, what motivates me the most right now, I still in today's world see people getting put in negative situations, bad situations, and you think with technology and access to resources that stuff wouldn't happen. And I don't know that it's intentional, but I get phone calls still today of like buyers that bought with another lender or a situation they're talking about, and I'm like, how does this even happen? So honestly, that's probably my biggest motivating is I want to get out and help as many people, because I feel like ultimately we're always trying to do the right thing for them. And I don't know that everyone does that. And so if that's anything that keeps me really up and motivated, is like I just want to help serve more people. It's not about us. And even if they don't use us, I always say, I'm just going to have a conversation with you. And if you're taken care of, I'm going to tell you, hey, that's a great opportunity. Yeah, run with it. But it's just, I want to make sure to talk to as many people.
You mentioned that you weren't always that way. What changed? What was that process of getting to where you're at right now, to where you're not stressed out, you're not worried about, frivolous details, you're focused on providing value? What was that process for you specifically?
Yeah, so I love doing what I do. I absolutely love it. I wouldn't trade it for anything else. I do realize it kind of happened when I got married and had children, that you can't do the 65, 70 hours a week that you started off by just out hustling everyone, because ultimately this would be taken away from me when my wife, children have sort of issues with me spending all that time away from them, possibly leaving with me. Unfortunately, in this business, and I think this is both realtor and lender oriented, you see a lot of marital sort of issues because of the amount of energy time spent in the business. And so that's really where I shifted. When I kind of got to that point, and my wife, to be honest with you, I'm sure Sarah will probably listen to this at some point and she'll laugh. She kind of laid the law down with me and was like, hey, I get it. You love doing this, but this isn't going to work for a lifetime. And that was kind of a moment of, okay, you've got to figure out how to systemize everything and streamline it and be as efficient as possible.
Shout out to the wife. I
Right?
like that. Yeah.
We've heard that story a couple of times.
You built that system out of necessity. That's a lot of times that necessity is what drives us to become better. We're in fourth quarter right now, right? Everyone's kind of winding down. What are you working on in 2020 that's really got you excited? What's new on Seth's radar in 2020?
Yeah. So the biggest thing that I am looking forward to is continuing to grow. And this kind of goes back on this last question, is to continue to grow and continue to provide the same levels of service. So we're not losing any service. We're growing our database. We're growing the amount of people we can serve. But by doing that through growing a team and coaching and mentoring and leading those folks, and so that everyone on the team has a healthy, balanced life, but we're able to grow our business at the same time. And so to me, that's very challenging. I mean, there's the whole like blunt force way of going about it, and we're just going to do that. But I don't want to do that because I don't think it's long-term sustainable.
Yeah.
You ultimately will lose people. You'll have to compromise your service. Something breaks. So it's trying to identify what is the best way to continue to grow. So right now, looking at some different possibilities of adding members to my team. That's really what I'm most excited about, because I feel like the more we grow the internal sort of procurement side of the business, I can then spend more time out in sales, marketing, relationship based, and again, and ultimately that serves the purpose of trying to get exposure to as many people as possible and having as many conversations as possible with people wanting to either buy or refinance a home.
So unbox that for me about building a team. You mentioned that comes with some challenges and some, growing pains. Tell us about that. Walk us through some of the, lessons that you've learned. You've grown so quickly in your lending business. What are some of those lessons and maybe key takeaways that you've learned as a leader as your teams continue to evolve and grow? And obviously your role evolves too, because now you're providing that same level of support to those people. Kind of tell us about some of those learning opportunities there.
Yeah, as probably as anyone growing a team, your first hire is usually out of necessity. And you wait till a point where it's like, I have to hire someone because I don't know what I'm doing, or I know what I'm doing, but we're getting to this point of things are boiling over and I have to hire someone. And that is ultimately the biggest lesson I've learned, is that doing that will put you in a really tough situation, because you'll probably not hire the right person, or you'll hire someone without a defined role and job description of what do you want this person to do. And then, you look back on that, and I've, lost some assistants and team members, and they were frustrated with me and I was frustrated with them. And if I go back on it, I have no one to blame but myself in that process, because I didn't provide a clear vision forward for them, and expectation and agreements on, hey, this is what we're doing. This is where we're going. Are you on board? So that's the biggest takeaway that I've had from trying to do this, is that you can't really hire anyone out of necessity. What you want to do is really define a role within your system of what are you wanting this person to do, and then, interview, talk to people, and hire someone that can take over that. But they have a defined system too, and that life events happen. If that person leaves, it shouldn't be more than 3 months that you find someone else, hire them, train them, and get them back rolling full speed ahead.
Right on.
Well, Seth, we really, really appreciate you being on our podcast today. You've given us so many things. If you had to talk to the audience, give us maybe a couple big takeaways that they should learn, and then also tell them how they could get a hold of you.
Yeah, the best way to get a hold of me is probably by email. So SethB@onehallmark.com. I'm very responsive to that. That's probably the number one. Feel free to connect with me on any social media as well. So Facebook, LinkedIn, both active on there. Say probably the biggest takeaway, if I can share with someone, this is so cliche, but I truly mean this, is that you always want to do the right thing and do it for the right reasons. And if you're in this business right now and wanting to grow, or you're just someone maybe getting started off, is that I would encourage you to really sit down and identify your why behind what you're doing. And whether, why do you want to be a loan officer? Why do you want to go from 70 units of production to 150 units of production? What is the purpose behind that? And I guess I'll share that, and I'm sharing this ultimately out of my own despair of, at a time of, in my 4.5 years that happened, is I had the wrong why for a while. My why was an ego thing. I'll be totally honest. It was ego. I'm better than you. I can do more. Man, you may get there, but that's an empty place at the end. So if I can encourage anyone or just share with someone, is really find that why in your business of why you're doing it. And when you do find that why, man, it gets really exciting, and you can grow, and like it motivates you beyond anything materialistically will motivate you. That's my opinion.
I'm getting motivated right now.
I absolutely could not agree more. And and people don't take the time to do that. Just being on top of a scoreboard is fantastic, but it leaves you just sitting at the top of a scoreboard at the end of the day without any sense of fulfillment oftentimes. And the fact that you're willing to share that and dive deep into that, that means something, man. I'm going to piggyback on that with one more question. What's success mean to you, Seth?
Yeah, this is a fun one. So the first job interview I ever had, I answered this a specific way. And what's interesting is it's never really changed, but it's kind of morphed a little bit. So success to me is it cannot be measured in a status, if you will. It cannot be measured in a, hey, I did this much. to me, success is everything to do with a mindset. So it's different for everyone, but we know that success mindset of your life is balanced, you're happy, you're motivated, and you're just going. So for me, this early on was how I identified, what does success mean to you? Success means to me that I'm sitting, and I'm not there yet, by the way, but I'm sitting on a nice 80-degree afternoon on a boat on a lake, where I have a lake cottage. And if anyone that has done that, and you put yourself in where you at mentally in that moment, and I would venture to say they are the most freeing spirit. They're happy. It's laid back, no stress. To me, that's success right there.
That's beautiful.
That moment. So to me,
can I be with you on the boat?
What?
I want to be with you on that boat.
Yeah, no, awesome. So, but then success to me ultimately is that mindset, that mentality, all the time.
Every day.
How do you get to a place where you're just there every single day? And that's success. It's a feeling. It's a mindset.
That's it. Everybody better subscribe, rate, and review after that right there. And definitely look this dude up north. Seth, you are awesome. The work you're doing is extraordinary. And Austin and I really couldn't appreciate your time anymore. It's we've both taken away a lot here today, and hopefully everybody else has as well.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. It was an absolute pleasure. Appreciate all you guys are doing to put this all together and get this stuff out there.
Let's go make the day happen, man. Thanks so much.
Seth went into finding your why, getting a great system. He's one of the good system guys of this industry, and finding motivation every day.
So check it out on all of your favorite podcast platforms. Subscribe, rate, and review if you took some benefits away from this, and we really appreciate everybody's time today. Hope you have a great day.
Bye, guys.